All right, so lesson 3 is about angles of triangles. So remember that a triangle is a three-sided figure, okay? We have interior angles because they are on the inside. Okay. And then we can also make exterior angles by lengthening each of our lines. Okay. And so these are exterior angles because they're on the outside. Okay. And then we're going to also learn what it's called to be a remote angle, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. Okay, but just remember interior and exterior. Okay, so if you take a look at our triangle, they take our interior angles, add them up, and they equal 180. Okay, you must remember this. So our interior angles, x plus y plus z equals 180 degrees. Okay, or 1 plus 2 plus 3, whatever you want to call your angles, it has to equal 180 degrees, your interior angles. Okay. So you can see here, it says that find the value of x in this flag, okay, Antigua and Barbuda flag. So they're looking, there's lots of triangles here. But they're looking at this one kind of brown looking triangle. So they have x here, they have 55 here, and they have that this is 90, because remember that little square means 90. So when you add that all together, it must equal 180. So what do? They start to simplify. Well, I can combine like terms. So 55 plus 90 is 145. And then to solve for x, we have to subtract that 145. So we get that x equals 35. So this angle up here is 35 degrees. All right, so let's look at an example for ourselves. So we have triangle x, y, and z. Okay. They tell us that x is 72 degrees. They told us that y is 74 degrees. But we need to find z. Okay, we don't know this angle. So all we have to do is add it up. So 72 plus 74 plus z, remember this is the one we're looking for, has to equal 180 degrees. Okay. So because these are on the same side, we can add those up. So we get 146 plus z equals 180. Now we're ready to solve for z, so we're going to subtract 146 from both sides. And we get 34 degrees. Now, if you do not want to do the math like that, use your calculator. There's nothing wrong with it. But we find that our missing angle is 34 degrees. And if we were to just double check, right, 72 plus 74 plus 34, oops, you missed that, but that's all right, equals 180. Okay, let's look at B. It says that the measures of L, M, N are in a ratio of 2, 4, and 6. And we want to figure out those measures. So that's not as confusing as it seems. All it's asking us to do, we don't really know the angle, so that becomes your variable. But we know we need 2, 4, and 6. So I can say, okay, 2x plus 4x plus 6x, because they have something in common except for that pattern, and they has to equal 180 degrees. Okay, so they're all like terms, so I can combine those. So we get 12x equals 180. I divide by 12 because I need to get my x by itself. Again, if you don't know that, get your calculator out. 180 divided by 12 is 15. This is not your answer though, okay? Because if I just had 15 plus 15 plus 15, that's only 45. I need to get to 180. So we still have to use this pattern here. So 2 times 15 is 30 degrees. 4 times 15 is 60 degrees. And 6 times 15 is 90 degrees. If we added those up, 30 plus 60 plus 90, there's our 180. So we know that these are correct. Okay, so now let's look at our exterior angles. Remember I said those were on the outside, right? So what this is telling us, okay, is that if we took the two further away angles, so A and B, that would actually equal this outside angle. And that's what's called a remote angle, okay? Okay, so remote angles. Okay, so the two opposite interior angles equal the exterior angle, okay? So you can see here, we're looking for, or it tells us that 4 is 135, okay? So we want to find 2. Well, if this is 2, or if this is our missing, and this is 90, 90 plus this missing one, which they called x, has to equal that 135. And so they find that x equals 45, or angle 2 equals 45, okay? So let's look at it together. Okay. So we know that 5, which is our exterior angle, equals 47, 147, okay? So we know that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle K, which this is the M really, has to equal the measure of angle 5, which is the exterior of L, okay? So we don't know this, but we do know K, it's 90. And we know 5, it's 147. So we need to find this. So we're going to subtract 90. And so we get the measure of angle 1 is 57 degrees. Okay? And if you don't believe that, you could work it out to try to find it. Okay? All right, so let's look at number 1. It wants you to find the interior angle. So we're not talking about remote angles for a second. So x plus 60 plus 75 has to equal 180, because we said that the interior angles have to equal 180. Okay? So let's combine our like terms. So we get 135 plus x equals 180. Subtract your 135. borrow, and we get x equals 45. Okay, again, we're looking for our interior angles. So x plus 20 plus 70 equals 180. Combine like terms. So x plus 90 equals 180. Subtract 90. And x equals 90 degrees. Okay. All right. We have the ratio of 1, 2, and 5. So we're going to take 1x plus 2x plus 5x, and that has to equal the 180. We combine like terms, so we get 8x equals 180. Divide by 8. So 180 divided by 8 is 22.5. Now, this is not your answer, okay? You have to go back and find your each one. So 1 times 22.5, well, that is 22.5. So that is one of your answers. Then we need 2 times 22.5. Take your calculator, there's nothing wrong with that. And we get 45. And then we get 5 times 22.5. So 5 times 22.5 is 112.5. Then we can just double check that that equals 180. So plus 45 plus 22.5. And there's your 180. So we know that this is correct. We're good to go. Okay. And last one for before your little quiz. Number 4. So remember that remote angle. This is a remote angle. So x plus 92 has to equal that 123. So if we subtract 92, we get that x equals 31 degrees.